Hello everybody, Pinstripe here. What is going on with you? Welcome to another unused map video. Just a short one today. Going to be looking at the map known as Zigi. This is one that focuses on a sort of South American Aztec-y vibey theme. But what it also feels like is that they've just decided, well, we've made this huge pyramid, so why don't we plonk it directly in the middle of the map and then kind of figure everything else out around it. Because if you look at the main texture that is used, it's the simple grassy plain texture. You know, that's been used in other maps before. So the pyramid is the primary source of what is going on this map, and kind of gives it a little bit of detail. Because if you take the pyramid out, then all you're left with are those sort of smaller structures around it. And this does kind of give me a vibe of like Graveyard Shift before it was Graveyard Shift. Like, they had this map and it eventually morphed into that. But I mean, that's my own opinion. What do you think of this map so far? Because yeah, there isn't really that much to look at besides the pyramid. There are other sort of like medium size and then smaller size pyramids in the corners of the map, and the map itself is mirrored from one side to the other. But yeah, there's not really much to speak about. I've talked before about how the game has a selection of different landscape types, or sort of themes, I suppose, where you have, you know, snowy, grassy, mud, chalky, and this doesn't really add anything else to it. I mean, you could maybe focus on the cultural side of it, where, you know, it's meant to be this sort of South American area, but it doesn't give off that vibe, you know, and I think they just had this single pyramid texture asset that was built, but they didn't have any other ideas as to what they could have done, you know. And again, going back to Graveyard Shift, it's one of those maps that doesn't have anything besides what you can see. There's a few maps like that, mainly on the novice section of the multiplayer maps, where, you know, the theme is there, where it's like, I don't know, Playpen or Pigs in Space, where, you know, you've got the theme, you understand that, but it doesn't offer anything else on the map. There's no crates, there's no health crates, there's nothing, there's no vehicles, and it is just a little bit empty. As far as progression goes, this map did make it into the, I guess, the next round of development, in that it was just before the, you know, functioning alpha stage, and the map itself looks less saturated. It's kind of toned down a bit, made a bit darker. It looks a bit nicer in my opinion, and the frame rate is of course much better, but overall it just didn't have a counterpart that could support it in its own theme. And what I mean by that is, you know, I've touched on the idea that, you know, the multiplayer maps have different themes going on, whether it be like set on the moon, or if it's like a hell type theme. You know, there's no South American like temple tropical map equivalent to this one, and that's where I feel like it tripped up a lot. And maybe this did morph into Graveyard Shift or some other type of map, but overall I think its lack of detail was its ultimate demise. Because if you look at the novice category of multiplayer maps, they still have some form of detail or, you know, thing going on with the map that makes it interesting. You know, like Playpen and Duvet Fun have minefields and indeed are intensely colourful. Even Pigs in Space has, you know, the buildings on the far side of the map, it's got water running through it, so it has something going on. This one just doesn't have anything. You've got some cover, you've got the giant ass pyramid, but what are you meant to do with that? Even the likes of Hedge Maze is still interesting, because, you know, you can get lost in the maze, there are health crates, and there's like a major center point that you can go to and you can pick up crates, and there's like the level balance between, you know, trying to get a jetpack and collect the crates that are too high up for you to get. But with this one, there just isn't anything. You could incorporate, you know, there being health crates on the little small square sections, but I don't know, just something to make it a bit more interesting. I mean, I do like Graveyard Shift. I think it's an awesome map, but it's one of those that is probably the weakest out of the novice level of multiplayer maps. But what are your thoughts on this map? Let me know in the comments below, because that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. It is just a short one showcasing the map known as Zigi. It didn't make it any further into development because, well, we've seen its weaknesses. But yeah, give me your honest opinions, and in the meantime, I will catch you guys later for the next one.
destination.